The fighting in World War I stopped on November 11th, 1918, but the war was not over. The Allied leaders met in the Versailles Palace starting in January of 1919 to hash out terms for the peace treaty. The location chosen was intentional, as the Germans had embarrassed the French decades before and forced the French to sign a peace treaty in Versailles, ceding power over to the Germans, and the French wanted to do the same. The Allied leaders came with different priorities. The French wanted to punish the Germans, the Americans wanted to have peace without punishment, and the British had a middle ground where they wanted to have their damages rectified from the war but did not want to go further in punishing the Germans beyond that. Ultimately, the Allied leaders were able to come to an agreement, and on June 28th of 1919, the Treaty of Versailles was finished. So what were the terms of this treaty that would have worldwide impact? First, all of the Central Powers were broken up. Germany lost colonies around the world. The nation of Poland was created using some German land, and France gained land from Germany. The Austro-Hungarian Empire was broken up into many smaller nations. Serbia and Bosnia, which had been ground zero for conflict before World War I, were combined with other Slavic countries in the region to create a country that would be known as Yugoslavia, which means the land of the South Slavs. The Ottoman Empire was dismantled, and during the 1920s, what remained of the Ottoman Empire became the nation of Turkey. The land that had been promised to the Arabs was divided between the French and the British as mandates, based on the Sykes-Picot Agreement and finalized with the terms of the Treaty of Versailles. The choice to keep the Middle Eastern lands as mandates became a point of tension between the West and the Middle East. The Russian Revolution resulted in the formation of the Soviet Union, and the Treaty of Versailles also pushed the former border of the Russian Empire further east as new countries were formed in Eastern Europe. Germany was blamed for the war and was required to pay reparations for the damage from the war. Germany's government transformed from an empire with an emperor to a republic with elected leadership. The League of Nations, an organization that was tasked with maintaining peace within Europe, was created by the Treaty of Versailles, but the United States did not join the organization and retreated back into isolation after World War I ended. Italy had joined the Allies based on an agreement made with the British, but they did not get everything they were promised after World War I. The disconnect between what the people of Italy were told, that Italy was joining the war to make gains for the country of Italy, and the result, Italy did not get all the gains they were promised, was one of the factors that would create tension between the Italians and King Victor Emmanuel. Japan was present at the negotiations of the Treaty of Versailles after fighting alongside the Allies in Asia, but they did not have much to say in the outcome of the Treaty of Versailles. Their actions over the next 20 years would reflect a split with the Europeans on a path forward. World War I was devastating. The war to end all wars, it was called. Millions died as old tactics met new weapons technology. The fighting seemed hopeless and desolate for the soldiers who participated in the fighting on the ground. The structures of power in the world were realigned, and many countries were sharply set on new paths after the war. Little did they know at the time that the peace achieved at the Treaty of Versailles would be a temporary peace. Economic weakness hit some countries in the 1920s, and the Great Depression was in full swing around the world by the early 1930s, setting the stage for World War II.